Hello and welcome back to the Isle of Wight College Open Day. We're here today talking to a range of our staff who work in various departments about our course offer here at the college, and we're starting to think about plans for the future and in particular for this September. As we know, we're now coming out of lockdown and hopefully we can all start to think positively about our next steps and planning for the future. So now's a good time to get in contact with us and talk about our options and what the course offers are here at the college. If you'd like to find out more, you can find out our contact details on our website, Google Isle of Wight College, or look on our Facebook page and you'll find all the contact details there, and you can contact us and arrange one-to-one telephone call with someone from the relevant department and they can explain all your options to you. For the next 10 minutes, we're going to be talking to two of my colleagues who work in our Foundation Learning department. And at the college we are really proud of our foundation learning programmes that we offer to students, which offer a really tailored provision and experience for the students who have special education needs and who need a little bit of extra support while they're at college. So we'll be firstly talking to Bryony, who works in the Pathways department, and then to Gary, who works in our foundation learning department. So hello Bryony, welcome to the sofa.
Thank you.
For the next 10 minutes we're going to be talking about Pathways,
yep.
And we're really proud of Pathways as a facility here at the college. It's
Most
got
definitely.
some amazing facilities and it's been open now 3 years.
Yes, we're very lucky, purpose-built.
Yes, and so it's got some really good facilities which we'll talk about in a moment. So could you start by talking about what's the curriculum offer for a learner who comes to study at Pathways?
Yeah, of course. So within the Pathways programme, we offer quite a diverse range of topics and programmes within the building itself. They mainly focus on life skill areas, work skill areas, which includes work experience, both internal and external. We have maths and English development within that, wellbeing and community enrichment lessons, and then we follow a RAPA-based system. So we create in-house targets for our learners, which we track throughout the year, and then we also follow EHEP guidance for their outcomes.
And what's the age range of students who would normally be in the Pathways facility?
Yeah, so we do take from 16. It's quite rare that we do, but we do have some learners within the programme that are. And then we go up to 25. However, they may not stay on the course till 25 because they could progress elsewhere, both in the community and in the college. And then we do have a part-time offer for over 25, which is maths and English lessons, life skills and a communication lesson.
Yeah. So if you have a learner perhaps who's got quite complex needs, are you able to support them in Pathways as well?
Yes, of course, yes. So we call that our Communication Pathways programme, which is more of a bespoke timetable for them types of learners. It's more of a sensory approach to learning, and it uses more of our facilities within, such as the sensory room, hydrotherapy pool, movement studio and the assistive flat and kitchen.
Yeah. And I know in Pathways you have much smaller class sizes, yes, because of the additional needs of your students. How were the students supported during their classes? What kind of support would they have? Yeah,
so we have a range of equipment, resources. We're very high on assisted technology, from the use of Vocus to grid licenses, eye gaze, MyToby cameras. These are probably all familiar equipment to our parents, learners and carers at home. And then we also have a very large LSA team which provide one-to-one support, small group support and whatever's needed for our learner.
Yeah. And so those learning support assistants are really critical, aren't they, in terms of getting to know the students and sort of being part of their network while they're at college? And,
most definitely, yes. They're frontline and they're trained in a whole range of qualifications to suit needs.
Yeah, and they sort of help bring the students out, you know, and sort of help them develop their communication skills and confidence.
Yeah,
that's great. And do learners have to pay to come to college as part of the Pathways provision?
So there are course fees attached to our course. However, if learners are entitled to a bursary, they can apply through that through the Isle of Wight College, and our Student Services department here will support them with that.
Okay, that's good to know. And on average, how many days a week would a learner attend?
So our full-time programme is mainly 3 days. However, because of the building we are and the programme we offer, we can be bespoke in timetables. We can offer from 1 to 3 days, mornings or afternoons, whatever's needed. Yeah.
And in terms of getting to college, how do the students get to college normally?
So previously in some of our special needs schools on the island, they do provide a school bus. We don't for the Isle of Wight College. However, we do work closely with the local authority for the transport system, and then we encourage our learners and parents and carers to apply through them to see if they're entitled to taxis or support services to get them to and from college.
And I know you're all sort of planning busily for the autumn, and it's clearly this year it's going to be
a little bit different.
A little different, and there's a lot of planning having to go into that. But I know you've had some learners in recently, haven't you? Yes, and that's sort of given you an opportunity to trial out how that's going to work.
How it's going. Yeah, definitely. We've had learners come in throughout the last part of term, so our summer term, and we've been able to offer healthy walks on site, healthy walks off site, and then we're also offering small induction sessions through August just to get them back in and get them familiar to the new rules and new routines.
Yeah. And in the facility, there's some really good facilities that the students can use, aren't they? So perhaps if you could just talk a bit about some of the different rooms that you have.
Yes, of course. So as I said before, our building's a specialist purpose-built building. As soon as you come onto the ground level, we have what's called a sensory room. Within this, we've got Omni-beam projectors, touchscreen floors, vibrating couches, coloured lights all around the room, and that's all interactive play. We also have our movement studio, which is what a Harlequin floor, which bounces as you move, so it's all specialist. And then we have a hydrotherapy pool, also on ground level, which is open to all learners as long as there's an entitlement. And then upstairs we have our assistive kitchen, all purpose-built workstations, and a sister flat, which we can teach life skills. Great.
So some really good opportunities to learn, new skills within a context and in an environment that would be familiar for a student. And finally, if you were talking to a student or a potential student about coming here with their parents, what would you say to that student about what would their sense of achievement from coming to college? What would they get?
I think it's bespoke to each learner. It's what they want to achieve from college. So we have many learners who go on to employment or voluntary placements or even attending other further education courses here at the Isle of Wight College. They're going to enjoy their programme. We're all enthusiastic and motivated as staff, and we try to be as bespoke as possible to what they need.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Brian.
Thank you
that's
very
really
much, David.
Interesting to hear. And over to your colleague Gary, who will
Lovely,
come and join me on the sofa now.
Hello.
Hello, Gary. How are you?
Not too bad.
Yes, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. So you're going to talk a bit about the Foundation Learning Programme, which sits alongside Pathways. Firstly, perhaps just talk a bit about what kind of students do you have on your programmes in Foundation Learning?
Well, we have a wide range of different students that come to us. I often feel like a bit of an octopus with the amount of arms we need to have. EHCP students that declare SEN needs, maybe sometimes with some mild behavioural problems, or those that just couldn't engage at school for whatever reason.
So it's very much about helping those students get engaged in education and sort of get,
Absolutely.
build their confidence.
We're there
and
to
their
change
skills.
lives, build lives.
So will your tutor know, so if you were talking to a student about coming to the college, how would you communicate with them? How would you get, how do you build sort of your links with them in terms of getting to know how their mind works and how your mind works?
As Brian was saying earlier, it is very much individual to the person that we're dealing with. The work has already started through the interview notes that we've been collecting, through to reading the HCP reviews and all the information that we get from schools. From there we start to build a range of strategies that may or may not work depending on the changing situation, and we listen. We're very observant with what we do, and we use that information to then progress our communication as time goes on.
Yeah. And I know for some students it might be really difficult coming into an education environment where perhaps they've found that really difficult previously, or it causes anxiety and other issues. What would you do if a student's having a bad day? How would you support them in those circumstances?
It's very important to give people the space that they need. When we say having a bad day, that could range a wide different set of things that could be happening either in college or outside of college. So again, it comes down to the listening, giving the space, and then allowing that person to work through whatever it is they're working through with a bit of support.
Yeah. And perhaps thinking about it from sort of a slightly more light-hearted sort of point of view, if you were thinking about Foundation Learning as a film, how would you describe that to a student or potential student if you were thinking about it?
Well, it's funny you should say that, David, because I was thinking about this the other day. It's a really good question. I'd probably go with something like The Greatest Showman. Not to reflect on myself, but it's about a wide range of different individuals coming together, overcoming adversity and succeeding in life.
Yeah.
So that includes staff as well as the students.
Yeah. Do you have any elephants in Foundation Learning? Because I think there's an elephant in The Greatest Showman.
Not yet, but you never know.
Well, let's see if we can get one in the animal care department for you.
Absolutely.
And if a student were to say at school, nobody noticed me, will anyone take notice of me at college? What would you say to someone who felt, they've obviously felt ignored?
Another good question. It's very sad when you hear that someone feels that they've not been noticed. At the core of what we do is about the individual. If someone says they've not been noticed, then we might take time out. We might go and have a chat somewhere quietly. Just make sure that everybody is involved with that person as much as possible. And we do share information, but for the right reasons, not the wrong.
Yeah. And sometimes it can, be difficult if you're working in a larger group or you're sort of meeting lots of different people. What's the sort of typical sort of group size in foundation learning, and how do you sort of help sort of students who perhaps find it difficult working in larger groups?
As with Pathways, we do have a good ratio of staff to students. Typically there will be a minimum of 2 learning support assistants and a tutor in a room. We tend to break rooms up by working in smaller groups. We might have a large room with smaller groups working together. And that tends to work for most. There are sometimes people need a bit of space to work along. We do allow that as well, obviously with support. And more recently, following events with COVID, we've embraced using Microsoft Teams online. And even today, even though officially the course is finished, we're all online today. And we have been since we broke up.
Yeah. And just giving the students that bit of interaction and a bit of
support. Well, we've had all sorts going on with competitions around photographs, what they're growing in the garden, going out for walks, what they're doing with their day, just trying to look after their mental well-being as well as their education.
Yeah, that's great. And if a student was to say, "Oh, I didn't enjoy school," or how's college going to be different? What would you say to them?
College differs massively from school. The curriculum we deliver is a lot smaller, so there's no focus on the 9 GCSEs and this pressure to succeed by the time you're 16. We're all about life and helping those individuals to develop so that they can cope with whatever's going to come across their way in life.
Yeah. And finally, if a student wanted to know what was the top 5 things a foundation learning programme was going to offer them, what would you say to them?
Firstly, I'd probably say that there's a sense of community within foundation learning. Learners come back to us all the time. I even had a reference request from about 4 years ago yesterday. People always remember their time with foundation learning, and that's probably the biggest thing. Confidence, self-awareness, and that we will sit with students every day if need be to review how they're doing, what can we change, can they change so that they can see again what they want to do. And just to get ready for life, really.
And speaking of that, have you got any sort of people that stick out in your mind who, sort of when you think back, they've, really sort of gone on to achieve, or, and when I say that, it might not be gone off to be, do something really on the world stage or something, but it might just be, from their perspective, maybe a big achievement.
A lot have gone on to employment, and then from that they've really succeeded. Some go on to the vocational courses at college. I even had one individual a few years back who came to us from a school on the island with no GCSEs whatsoever. He's now just finishing his degree in, I think it's criminal psychology in Plymouth. Wow. So very proud, and I remember them all fondly. Yeah. Really do.
Yeah, and it's all, and as you said at the beginning, it's all about individual tailored programs to help each individual who's got very different circumstances and helping them make the most and progress.
Absolutely.
That's great, Gary. Anything else you'd like to say before we end?
No, I'm just looking forward to starting again in September and meeting all the new students.
Yes, and we will very much be looking forward to welcoming students back in September. We're busy preparing and making sure we're ready, taking into account all the changes that we need to put in place to make sure we're COVID safe. So if you'd like to find more about courses in either Pathways or our Foundation Learning Programme, then you can contact us. As I said at the beginning, you can look on our webpage to find our contact details, Google Isle of Wight College, or on our Facebook page, and all the details are there. And then you can arrange for a one-to-one telephone call with Gary, Bryony, or somebody in the team, and they'll be able to give you some one-to-one advice to you and your parents. So please do contact us, and we look forward to seeing you in September. Thank you.